You've been eating less for years. You cut the calories, you cut the carbs, you skipped meals, you did the fasting, you white knuckled your way through hunger because that's what you were told fat loss takes. And it might have worked for a while, right? Like you dropped some weight, then it stopped. So you cut more and it stopped again. And now you're eating less than you've ever eaten. You're hungry all the time. You're tired. Your workouts are flat and the scale still won't move. Or worse, it's going in the wrong direction. And here's what nobody told you. The reason you're stuck isn't that you're eating too much. It's that you've been eating too little for too long. You've spent years sending your body a starvation signal, and your body did exactly what it's designed to do. It slowed everything down to survive. You do not have a willpower problem. You have a metabolism that's been suppressed into a corner, and you cannot diet your way out of a problem that dieting created in the first place. There is a different way, a method that rebuilds your metabolism that's been suppressed. It's turning your body into a fat burning machine again. And then it strips the fat off from a position of strength. And this is called metabolic priming. Metabolic priming. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what it is, the science behind why it works, and the 4 pillars that make it run. And then the exact protocol that we run to start rebuilding with our clients. My name is Nolan Ulm. I'm a former D1 football captain at Eastern Washington, turned pro football player for the Toronto Argonauts, and the founder of Make It Happen Coaching. I've coached over 100 men through this exact method, and I used it on my own body to drop fat while I was eating 570 grams of carbs a day and peaking to go play pro football. Here's exactly what we're going to be covering. Why eating less eventually stops working, the real biology behind metabolic priming and what it actually is in the 4-pillar system, and the exact protocol that you can start this week. Everything you've been told about fat loss has been built on a method that breaks down past 30. This is the fix. So let's get into it. Let's explain what actually happened to your metabolism. Your body has one job that overrides everything else, and it's to keep you alive. It doesn't care about your abs. It doesn't care about your wedding photos. It doesn't care about anything except survival. And it has a phenomenal system that works very, very well. And it's used in these moments of food scarcity. So when you cut calories aggressively, your body doesn't know what you're doing, and it doesn't know that you're doing it on purpose. It doesn't know that there's a fridge full of food that's 10 feet away. All it knows is that energy is coming in below what it needs. So as far as your body is concerned, that means one thing. And this might have meant that years ago, which is famine. And so your body adapts. And this is called metabolic adaptation, and is one of the most well-documented phenomenons in all of human physiology. And so here's what your body does when it thinks this famine is happening. As you can see here on the left, right? It lowers your metabolic rate. It produces less active thyroid hormone. So we've talked about this on the channel. You guys got to go watch the T3 video. Less T3, so every cell in your body burns less energy. And then it's going to increase hunger hormones like ghrelin. So you're driven to go seek out this food and to end the famine, right? And then it decreases fullness hormones like leptin, so you never feel satisfied. So your body has these methods built in that are really good, because if you were about to die, all these things, from starvation, these things would help you. It would motivate you to take action, and it's keeping your body alive. What this does is it lowers your your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So you end up fidgeting less, moving less. You take the escalator or the elevator, not the stairs, without realizing. This lowers testosterone, and it gets more efficient at storing any energy that does come in as fat in your body, because it's going to think that another famine is coming, or another starvation period is coming, and it's looking to allow you to survive. So every one of these adaptations is your body being smart. Every one of those adaptations is the exact opposite thing, though, of what you want when you're trying to lose fat. And so here's the thing that sucks and is cruel about our body is that the longer and harder that you diet, the deeper these adaptations will go. So if you're the guy who's been dieting on and off for 10 years, you're not starting from a neutral metabolism. The classic study on this is The Biggest Loser. And when they do this crash dieting, their metabolism is affected for years after. Right? So if you've been doing this, if you've had a crash diet or you've done this in the past, you're starting from a metabolism that's been beaten into this survival famine mode, and for that example, for over a decade. And so someone's body that's been in over a decade of being in this aggressive cut has gotten really, really good at surviving on very little, and which means it's gotten terrible at burning fat. And this is documented in the research all over the place. Like I said, not just with The Biggest Losers, but all over. And like I said, this is literally years afterward, and the metabolism stays suppressed hundreds of calories below what it would be. So we're talking about serious fat loss, right? Because when you get so aggressively dieted, that suppression becomes semi-permanent. Now, it is something that you can reverse, and that's what we're going to talk about. That's metabolic priming. But when was the last time that you ate a full, satisfying day of food and didn't feel guilty about it? Because for most men watching this, it's been years. The constant restriction is exactly what's keeping you stuck. You cannot strip off fat with a metabolism that's running in survival mode. You have to bring the metabolism back to life first, and that's what metabolic priming does, right? So we come over here. We got to rebuild the metabolism first. As you guys can see here, this is a client that we worked with, Jared, and he was in that phase where we needed to rebuild his metabolism so that it was just coming off easily. And that's what metabolic priming is. It's the process of rebuilding that metabolism to its full capacity before you ask your body to lose fat. It's the opposite of the crash dieting approach, right? Instead of starting with restriction, we start with restoration. But it's not just eating a bunch of food. It has to be calculated, right? This is not just otherwise then everybody would be losing weight because you just go to McDonald's and eat a bunch of food. That's not how it works. The core principle is this: your body will only burn fat freely when it feels safe. And so we need to increase those signals of safety. So when your body believes that resources are abundant, it has no reason to hold the fat. It runs the metabolism incredibly hot. It produces energy freely. It's going to build your muscle, produces hormones, your testosterone goes to the roof. And then it lets go of that stored fat because there's no need to have it. There's no famine that's coming. It feels safe. So when your body believes that these resources are not scarce, it can therefore get rid of them, right? On the other side, if it doesn't, it's going to conserve this and store and hold this fat. Every single thing that you do, how you eat, how you train, how you sleep, how you recover, it's sending your body one of two signals, either safety or threat. Abundance or famine. So you got to prime the body for safety, and fat loss becomes the natural byproduct. If you signal threat, your body's going to be fighting against you. And it's counterproductive. Like, think of it like a campfire. So if you've got this big campfire and you want it to burn harder, you don't just starve it of wood and oxygen, right? You feed it, you give it that fuel, you give it the air, you build it up. A starved fire doesn't burn hot. It shrinks down to just the embers. And that's what you're doing when you're cutting all the time. Your metabolism is the fire. And if you've spent years trying to get a bigger flame by removing the wood, by removing the oxygen, that's the problem. Metabolic priming reverses that. And this is exactly how, I got down to 3.3% body fat while eating 570 grams of carbohydrates a day. Most people think that's impossible, right? If we come over here, here's a couple other people that we've gotten shredded, but this is 570 grams of carbs a day, going from 200 to 570. It's because of metabolic priming. My body felt safe, so it shedded all off, all that fat off of it, and that's what we got, right? So you want to rebuild that metabolism first, and then you start to go into that fat. So it really runs on 4 pillars here when we come over to our 4 pillars. And when we look at this, like each one of them sends a signal of safety in a different way. And the first pillar is fuel. So the part that scares most men and matters the most is you have to bring your food intake back up. And you have to not get scared of maybe gaining a couple pounds. Because for most men who've been chronically dieting, that means you're eating significantly more than you're eating right now, especially in carbohydrates. So like in order to prime your metabolism. And that scares a lot of people because when you do that, you're gonna gain a little more weight right away. But what are we trying to do? First of all, the weight will come down. But second of all, does the weight really matter? If you were shredded at that weight, would it really matter? For a lot of people, it doesn't, right? Now, obviously, we don't want to be probably this crazy weight, but you don't just become, Arnold overnight. That's just not something that happens. That takes years of dedication. So you do it gradually. And so that's what I'm saying. You can't just have a random, just like do these massive refeeds every single day. You don't jump from 1,800 calories to 3,200 overnight, right? You do it by, adding 100, 150 calories and mostly from those carbohydrates while tracking your weight and looking at a bunch of different signals like hunger, like your strength output, like looking at progress pictures and seeing if we're holding on to water, if we have water retention or not. And this is what shocks most people. As you eat more, your weight actually stays stable or even drops more if you're doing it the right way. Because as the fuel comes in, the body stops perceiving that famine, right? The starvation. So leptin rises, thyroid output increases, and the NEAT, like you're fidgeting, all that stuff climbs back up and the metabolism starts to come alive. So carbohydrates are the strongest safety signal that you can send. And carbohydrates, the reason is because they replenish muscle glycogen. And this supports thyroid conversion, lowers cortisol, and it's going to tell your body directly that your energy is abundant. We don't need to save all this fat and hold it, especially in that fanny pack area. This is why low carb diets fail long term, and especially with men past 30, because they keep the body locked in that threat state. Carbs eaten properly around training are not the enemy. They're the most powerful priming tool that you have. So the second one is to train. And so we want to train to build muscle, not to burn calories. It's a completely different reframe, but when we have more of a muscle mass, we're actually going to burn more calories. So if I bring you guys over here to how we actually burn calories with our metabolism, if we look at this, right, like BMR is 60%. And when we have more muscle mass, our body will burn more calories just at rest because it takes energy to retain that muscle mass. So it's not about the activity, the working out, all that's, it's about building the muscle and having that base so that it's just, we're working from not a deficit and not working against ourselves. We're creating a base that's so strong. We're going to be working with our body, not against it. The long cardio sessions, once again, your body's going to store a bunch of fat. Now we do cardio, but it's very strategic. And a lot of people, we come in, they're doing, 5 30-minute stair sessions a week. We're going to rip that all out because what that's doing is telling our body that once again, we're in famine. We're in these signaling these situations of threat. So our body thinks, the cortisol raises and it's going to burn through recovery. Metabolic priming combined with our isometrics and all the other things that we, progressive overload, the pillars that a lot of other people talk about, we do a way where you're athletically shredded. We're going to build your tendons. We're going to build your ligaments. And that's going to allow you to lift more weight in a more athletic manner. And you're going to be not only having more muscle, but you're actually going to feel way better. So training is going to be something that you actually look forward to. Muscle is a glucose sink. So the more muscle you carry, the more carbohydrates your body can process and store as fuel instead of fat. So with the muscle glycogen, right, your body's gonna take that and put it into your muscles to allow them to work at a higher output. So every pound of muscle that you build makes your metabolism bigger, and your body also is more insulin sensitive. So if you train 3 to 4 times a week, you got to focus on getting stronger. And you can let walking handle the rest of your movement, right? No grinding cardio required unless we're at the very end of a cut phase. And then we don't do it for that long because we want to use it as a strategic tool. And then this will just allow you to be shredded all year round anyways. Okay, so the third pillar is to restore. This is super important. Sleep, stress, nervous system recovery, especially when you got a business you're running or you're at work and you can eat perfectly and train perfectly, but if your body's in threat mode all the time and you're sleeping 6 hours, you're going to run on chronic stress. Remember, if you don't sleep and you don't recover, you're trading years. It doesn't make any sense. If you get out of the game quicker because you burn out or because you have this health issue or because you're not outputting at the same level other people are, that trade-off is not worth the couple extra hours a day of not getting the sleep or not, just literally down-regulating your nervous system, getting some breath work in before bed. Sleep is when your body regulates the most. It's the most important thing. It's not even close. Like if you just take one thing from this video, if you slept more, you'll be in a better spot. You'll be in a better spot to burn fat. If you cut sleep short, everything is going to be elevated. Cortisol, and it's going to keep your body in defense, fat storing method. So a rested nervous system is a body that feels safe. And that's the key with that. The fourth one is test. So we test, we don't guess. And so you don't rebuild a metabolism on field, you rebuild it on data. Just like everything else in life, you need data because you can't manage what you don't measure. Obviously, you track your body weight, you look at the weekly average, do all those things, but then it's about, looking at hunger, looking at, like I said, the progress picture is really doing that and seeing when we're retaining water, when we're not. Running real blood work so we can see your thyroid markers, your fasting insulin, testosterone, inflammation, tracking your sleep, seeing what our consistency, what our efficiency really is. Seeing what is our strength in our workouts? Are we going up in the weeks? If you're not tracking week to week, right, you're not going to be improving it because what you measure does improve. So the data is going to tell you where your metabolism is at, and then also you can actually make decisions off that. We talk about data-driven decisions. That's what you can do when you have that. Okay, so here's really what it comes down to, guys. The priming versus the crash dieting. Okay, there's two different options that you can go. You can either do the crash dieting and never have results that last, or you can feed the fire. And you can start to restore, to ramp the food up, to get results with leverage, easier results with a thought out method. That's the biggest thing, guys. Fat loss becomes the byproduct when your body feels safe, when you start to get this metabolism going through this metabolic priming method. And so imagine 6 months from now, you're eating more food than you've eaten in a decade, full plates, carbs, real meals, and you're leaner than you've ever been since your 20s. You're not hungry. You're not white knuckling anything. Your energy is steady all day. Your strength is climbing. Your sleep is deep. You look in the mirror and you see the dense athletic body that you thought was behind you. And the whole thing feels sustainable because it is. You're not surviving a diet. You're not starving yourself to death. You're running a metabolism that finally works. That's what metabolic priming gives you, not another diet, a rebuilt machine. Stop starving the fire and wondering why it won't burn. Stop cutting calories on a metabolism that's already been beaten into survival mode. Stop doing the thing that created the problem and expecting it to become the solution. This is not for everybody. I want to make this clear. This is for men who are ready to stop crash dieting and willing to trust a real process. Men who want a metabolism that works for the rest of their lives, not another just 6-week cut that falls apart. So if that's you, if this resonates with you, if you want to get results like Jared did, losing 40 pounds, getting in the best shape of his life, then go find me on Instagram. It's down in the description. Message me, shred@NolanOlm, and we can talk through getting on a call and seeing if you're a good fit for the community, because it's got to be the right fit. We only want to work with people that truly want to change and are looking for something that lasts a lifetime, that they can give down to their kids, people that want to impact their family tree through their fitness. And if you want to just get right on a call, we do have a link down below. The link's in the description, and just ask you a couple questions, and then we'll get on. And like I said, see if it's a good fit. Okay, so like, subscribe. Let me know you guys want to hear more of these videos. Comment down below if you have any questions. I just want to see you guys get shredded and get the best shape of your lives. And so the more that you comment and give me ideas, I can give you exactly what you guys need with these videos. Okay, that's all I got for you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Make it happen. Out.